Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Good morning, Miss T. Miller. Happy Wednesday. Good morning, Miss CG. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, Miss Carolyn. Happy Wednesday. I didn't go to the gym this morning. When I woke up, I got up just fine. But when I started moving around, I felt lightheaded. And then when I got in the kitchen, usually, even though I'm not like the most energetic at 4 a.m., I can get up and move around. But for some reason, I just was feeling lightheaded. And I was like, it's best you don't try to drive. Because I was going to meet my brother this morning, and that gym is a little bit further. It's like 20 minutes from me. So I just laid back down for a little bit. And I'm gonna lay back down after we get off of here because I'm still feeling a little lightheaded. I think my blood pressure is too low. Good morning, Miss Andrea. Good morning, Miss Is it Coquise? Coquise? Coquise. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. Good morning, Miss On an Island. Good morning, Miss My Therapy is Planning. Good morning, Miss Nene. Good morning, Miss Aloma. Good morning, Miss Janicia. Good morning, Miss Nikki. Happy Wednesday, y'all. So, good morning, Miss Niecy, baby. Good morning, Miss Shay. Good morning, Miss Patricia. Good morning, Miss Carletta. I'll be giving it another minute. So I'll try not to be before y'all long because I really do want to lay down. Good morning, Miss Niecy, honey. Yeah, I think my blood pressure I think it's too low. I have, I am fighting against high blood pressure. So I take a blood pressure pill, and I don't remember. I took it last night, and I'm thinking maybe my blood pressure maybe already been low because y'all know I've been like just watching what I eat and exercising and things like that. So I'm gonna check it when we get off of here. So I thought about that. I felt good enough to drive my daughter to school and everything. I feel okay, just a little bit lightheaded. Good morning, Mr. Kira. Good morning, Miss Cassandra. So yeah, I'm gonna try to go to the gym later, but I'm gonna lay down for a little bit. Thank you, Miss Lana Island. I feel fine. I just feel a little, you know, lightheaded for some reason. Like a little, I don't know how to explain it. It's not a headache, but just, Anyway, I'll be fine, y'all. But thank y'all. Appreciate it. This morning, let's get started. We are on day 13, and day 13 is the beauty of an humble spirit, however you want to say it. Here in Houston, we say humble. But some people do say humble. Thank you, Miss Cassandra. Our Bible verse is Esther 6:11. So Haman got the robe and the horse. He robed Mordecai and led him on horseback, proclaiming, "This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor." And we know the story behind that. Thank you, Miss Andrea. So our devotion is Mordecai didn't seek recognition, yet God exalted him. Humility leads to honor. A truly feminine woman doesn't chase attention, favor finds her. Our affirmation is I walk in humility knowing that honor comes in God's time. Our action step is avoid self promotion today. Let your character and grace speak for itself. Our journal prompt is, how can you practice humility while still embracing confidence? Because it seems like the two doesn't go together, but they do. So let's just read the verse really quickly. But we kind of went over this story earlier, maybe last week, I think. So this is Esther 6:11. So we know that the king had trouble sleeping. And good morning, Miss Malika. Thank you. And God, basically, we know that God said, hey, what about Mordecai? And he started thinking about how Mordecai had saved his life from these two eunuchs that were plotting on him. And so he went to Haman, who was his right hand man, he had already signed this proclamation to kill these people that Haman wanted to kill. Good morning, Miss Natasha. Thank you. He had already signed this proclamation, and Mordecai was one. He was one of those people that were supposed to be killed because of this decree he had signed from Haman. So he asked Haman, "What should I do for someone that basically saved the king's life? Like, how should I honor him?" And so Haman thought he was talking about him. So he was like, "Oh, you need to do this. You need to do that. Da 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 da." And he was like, "Great. Go ahead and do everything you said. Go find Mordecai and do everything you said." And, Haman was like, "What?" You know, and everybody knew Mordecai was a Jew. And that's what he was planning on killing. And he had to humble himself and go do everything that the king told him to do, right? This was a great embarrassment to him, bringing honor to Mordecai, who was his enemy, basically. And he was really, really upset and humiliated after all this had happened. And they were kind of telling him, you need to leave him alone. This is not going to go well for you, which we find out later it did not. So it says, Haman took the robes and put them on Mordecai, placed him on the king's own horse, and led him through the city square, shouting, "This is what the king does for someone he wishes to honor." So what that tells us is we don't have to seek revenge. We don't have to try to force things to happen on our behalf. God is working on our behalf. We just need to be humble in spirit, seek validation from the Lord and not the world, and he's going to take care of us. So let's talk about it some more. So how do you walk in humility while trusting God's timing to honor you? Because the problem is we're impatient. We're people, we're human, right? And we're like, when is it gonna be my time, Lord? When are people gonna respect me? When are people gonna see, what I have to offer? When am I gonna receive recognition, right? But we have to learn as feminine women of faith that that's not what we should be seeking at all. That's something that's going to come as a byproduct of honoring God, right? Of doing what he says, of walking in humility, grace, quiet strength, and trusting that at the due time, God is going to exalt us if that's what he sees fit, right? And even if it never happens, knowing that we have validation just from being daughters of the Lord Jesus Christ. So, Esther is a big example of this. We are to serve with grace, not for recognition. Esther never sought attention or demanded her place. Okay, not one time in here did she step up and was like, "I am the queen." She stepped in the court dressed as the queen, showing up as the queen in her positioning, but she never once like hoarded that over people. She never came to the king like, "I'm your equal. I'm a queen now and you need to listen to me." She did not go about things like that, and because of that, God helped her. She never sought attention or demanded her place. She moved with wisdom, serving her people behind the scenes while trusting God to position her in the right moments. Remember, she understood that Mordecai was upset and she tried to send things to him, to like comfort him. And he was like, listen, they're about to kill us. Like, what are we going to do? And she decided to take her and her household and fast and seek after what God says should be the right thing. Like, she didn't try to make a, a big decision without seeking the Lord first, right? To position her in the right place at the right time in order to get this done. So, how can we apply it? We need to do good without seeking applause, right? True honor is a byproduct of obedience, not self promotion. Are we being obedient, or are we just trying to get the applause? Are we just trying to be recognized? Are we just trying to get the likes and the shares and the saves and everything good that comes with that? I have really been, because y'all know I've been in social media for a little bit of time, and I have really just have come to the conclusion when I post anything, I don't care. I don't care if it doesn't get as many views as I would like. Like, it's nice when it does. I appreciate it when it does. But I am slowly, it wasn't an easy process, because once you get into a position where people are validating what you do, you seek that. It's just what it is. I'm getting to a place where I don't seek that validation anymore. It's funny because if you've ever met my husband, he is a person that he doesn't necessarily. I would say he's a good man. He has good morals, good ethics, and all of that. But he could care less about what people that don't know him say about him, right? That even people that may know him just is not in his circle. He could care less. He could care less about social media. He could care less about any of those things. And being with someone like that, it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Those things don't matter. Okay. In the end, are you doing what God told you to do? Are you being obedient? And that's what we need to be saying to ourselves when we make moves throughout life. Let your presence and character, good morning, Miss Naturally Reed. Let your presence and character speak louder than your need for validation. How are you showing up in this world? Are you chasing trends? Are you trying to look a certain way to gain attention? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't show up as your best self, because you absolutely should. But is it so you can be validated, or is it because God says, you're the king's daughter, and show up as such, right? We need to find joy in serving where we are right now, knowing God sees everything. So maybe you're not at the place that you feel that you need to be. Good morning, Miss April. Maybe you feel like, you should be higher up, right? We have to trust God. It will work out. This is where our faith comes in. Absolutely, Miss Cassandra. Maybe you feel like you should be in a better position. Maybe you feel like at your job you should be higher up. Maybe you feel like you should be a wife now, or a mother now. Maybe there's all these positions that you feel like God should have moved you into. And so, you get impatient, you get frustrated, you may get jealous, you may get a little envious, you may be upset, all of those things. Instead, we have to find joy in the place that we are at now and serve God in that position. If you are not in the position that you think you should be at work, are you serving? Good morning, Miss Haley. Are you serving God right now in that position? Or are you worried about getting to the next level? Are you serving God in your single season? Or are you just worried about trying to find a husband, which you should be trying to do anyway? Are you worried about being a mom? Or are you being a mother to the people that are in your life right now, whether that's your natural child or not? So we have to serve where we are right now and find joy. That's the key. Finding joy and happiness and contentness in serving where we are right now. So an affirmation you can say is, I move with quiet confidence, knowing that God sees my faithfulness. We also have to remain humble in moments of, hold on, y'all. Remain humble in moments of waiting. A good example of this is Esther, for an entire year, had to prepare herself, right? Sometimes God doesn't give us more because we are not grateful for the little. Absolutely. We have to be good stewards of what we have right now. This is stewardship, right? So it says, for an entire year, Esther prepared herself without rushing the process, okay? She didn't come in there and say, I only need 3 months to get it together, baby. That's would have been me, right? I'd have been like, I got this. I know what to do. Instead, she stuck with the process. She said, this is what y'all say I have to do." She was a very good listener. And let that be a lesson to us. To me, y'all know I'll be talking to me, not y'all. Let that be a lesson to be a good listener, to shut our mouths, be quiet, and listen and follow directions. It's so funny because if you've ever like worked in corporate America and you've ever like taken a training class, usually the icebreaker has something to do with you following directions. And it's so funny to see how many people, myself included, that do not follow the directions. Are you following directions? Are you listening? Is your mouth shut so your ears can hear? Right. Good morning. So often we care more than we should. God's validation should be the only validation that we seek. If we know that God is okay with it, we definitely should not care about anyone else. Absolutely, Miss OK, Josie Simplified. And good morning. Good morning, Miss Jenny. Yes, Esther was obedient and she trusted God. She trusted God. She listened. She trusted the people that were put into position above her. The eunuch, what was his name? I think Haggai. She trusted him. She trusted her uncle who said, hey, you're going to have to go to the palace and do this thing. She trusted him when he said, hey, this stuff is going down and maybe you were put in position to be queen for this moment right here to save us, right? She listened. She didn't argue about it. Me too, Miss Jenny. She didn't argue about it. She didn't say, well, wait a minute, I'm just a girl. I love saying that, but she didn't just say that, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was like, okay. She listened. Okay, well, you know what? I'm a fast and I'm a pray and I'm a seek God and I'm gonna let him put me in a position if that's what he's saying to do. She was obedient. So we shouldn't rush into positions or recognition. We should be patient, trusting that God's timing is perfect. It's always best. Okay. I was on Threads, and y'all know that it is colon cancer awareness month. And the funny thing about colon cancer is it's like a taboo cancer. Nobody wants to talk about it because essentially you're talking about poop, right? You're talking about y'all know I can't pronounce certain words, but the gastrointestinal system, I think that's how you say it. And that's uncomfortable for a lot of people to discuss. And it's so funny. I basically went on Threads and I just told my whole story from beginning to end. And I was thinking about doing a YouTube video about it because for me, I feel like that's my part. I'm trying to get away from talking about cancer so much, but I know that people do need to talk about it. And if I'm going to talk about it anytime, I'm going to talk about it in this month. And actually, it will be next week, I think. Next week, I think it'll be 3 years from when I found out I was sick, right? I was sick, healthy and healed now. So I was telling the story. And it's funny, like when you tell your story, you start thinking of things and how God really just worked everything out. And from what I understand, how my cancer had advanced, it's a slow moving cancer. So I was probably sick for a long time. She was prepared. If I perish, I perish. I know that's right, Miss Jenny. I had probably been sick for some years. From what I was told. So knowing that God could have took me down, I could have found out all of this years ago when my children were young, right? But God's timing is perfect. Even when things don't seem to be right, He knew the right time to make me sick when my daughter was grown so she could help me with the younger children, because Reagan was, I think, a sophomore in high school, and Riley had just started middle school when I was diagnosed. Ryan had already graduated from college and was beginning her career as a teacher, so she was able to help me. Bean, I think, was 19 or 20 at the time. He had just uh, learned how to drive. And when I took chemo, when I had to go back to get disconnected from the chemo pump I had, because y'all know I did it for like, you go, you get connected. This particular medicine that they give you has to go through your system for 48 hours. It has to drip real slow through your body, and you go and get disconnected from the chemo after 3 days. So I would go on Wednesday, and on Friday I would get disconnected. Well, by the time I went on Friday, because I've been receiving this medicine for 3 days, I could not drive myself. Usually I could drive myself initially, but not on the usually it was on a Friday. So my son would have to drive me. And Lord knows, he made me just sick enough, just nauseous enough that I didn't mind, okay? Like everything worked out for my highest good, even the timing of my illness, right? Like God's timing is always perfect. He knew if I was still married to my ex-husband. He knew if my children were still small. He knew the time to let me know when I was sick, okay? And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the whole thing. So anyway, trust that God's time is always best. It's always perfect. Instead of pushing for honor, prepare your heart and skills for when God elevates you. We do not push, we prepare. Okay, whatever position it is that you think that you want to be in, and you feel like that's your purpose, and that aligns with God's will for you, start preparing for it now. Okay, remember I told y'all, prepare if you want to be a wife, if you want to be a mother, if you want to be in this position at work, if you want to be all those, start preparing now. Okay, in addition to being obedient, having joy in the season that you're in right now, and serving with joy in that season, prepare. Show up as the person that it is that you want to be. That is part of preparation. Keep a teachable spirit. A lot of times we don't want to, like I said earlier, listen or follow directions. We have to learn how to be teachable. That we don't know everything, because we shouldn't know everything. In fact, we shouldn't even want to know everything. That there are people in positions that can teach us things that we need in order to step into the purpose God has for us. So keep a teachable spirit. Remain humble and waiting. Those who remain humble and waiting are trusted with honor. Our affirmation is, I trust God's timing for my promotion and honor. Yes, Sherry says, bragging on our awesome God and will draw others to him. Thank you, Ms. Cassandra. I may do a video on it just because I wanted to cover like all the channels that I know I post on. So we'll see. I don't know. Sometimes I think, why you keep talking about this, girl? Don't nobody want to hear about this. But I know that it's important for people to understand that, they need to get checked out. There's so many people that are scared of a colonoscopy. And, I understand, because I was scared too, but a colonoscopy is nothing, y'all. They put you to sleep, okay? You're not even awake. In fact, that's some of the best sleep I've gotten in my life, okay? Especially being in perimenopause and having insomnia. That's some of the best sleep I've gotten in my life, okay? They put you to sleep. The most annoying part of getting the colonoscopy is the prep, because you have to drink this liquid until, you clean out your system. And that's it. That is it. Okay. I've had many colonoscopies. Again, that part is annoying, but it'll save your life. So I'd rather be annoyed. Good, Miss Cassandra. So our next thing is, let God be the one who exalts you. Okay. Amen to that sleep. Yes, it's important to be teachable and humble. Absolutely. Yes, girl, that sleep, that's some of the best sleep I ever got when they put me under. So I'm like, and I wake up clean, refreshed. I lost a few pounds. Hey. There are pluses. There are silver linings to everything. It is not as it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's just listen, just like I said, it's just a prep. So go get your colonoscopy if you're over 40. Ask your doctor, especially if you are African American, because it is on the rise, unfortunately, in our community, partially because of the stress we endure and the diet that we eat, and it's just what it is. Ready to go eat too, right? So Esther didn't have to fight for her throne. God positioned her there. And we know that because she just showed up. She just showed up. Likewise, Mordecai, who faithfully served, was honored publicly when the time was right. Mordecai just was doing what he was supposed to do, warning the king. That happened years ago. So I'm assuming, I don't really know. But just think, you done saved the king's life and he never said boo to you, right? He probably didn't say thank you, nothing. And you done saved this man's life, but you let that go. And you say, you know what? The most important thing is how I'm going to help save my people. Good morning, Miss Natasha. How am I going to help save my people? Forget I saved the king life. This is the thing. And when you really think about it, it kind of blows your mind. He could have went to the king and said, you know what? A favor for a favor. I saved your life. I need you to save my people. Not one time did Mordecai do that. When he found out about the plot, he tore off didn't he tear off his clothes or something like that? He got, we know he got really, really upset. You know, your girl not a Bible scholar. But he got really, really upset. And what did he refuse to eat? I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at it. But basically, he didn't try to call the king up or take any action against the king about this decree that he had signed, about this plot that was against his people. He totally relied on God. And when Esther tried to comfort him, he told her, maybe you have been placed in this position. Maybe this was all a part of God's plan, right? Just think about that. You do something for somebody and they never say thank you. And then this comes up against you, could kill you, and you don't even say anything. You let God handle it. Like, truly, how many of us can say that we would do that, right? I can't honestly say I would do that. I probably would have called the king up and been like, oh, okay, Miss Naturally Reed, thank you. I probably would have called the king up and been like, hey, you owe me. But he didn't say that. He didn't do any of that. He let everything play out. And all of a sudden, come on, his enemy, because he know who Haman is, comes to him, puts him on the king's horse, puts robes on him, and parades him through the kingdom, saying, this is what happens when when you save the king. This is what happened when the king honors you. Like, that probably was like pure craziness to him. But God placed him in that position, right? He didn't have to do it. God did it for him. And so how many of us can truly say we can rely on God to place us in the right position at the right time, right? He always has a plan for us. Absolutely. So, don't try to manipulate situations to force recognition. Just like Mordecai, he didn't try to manipulate the situation. And it really wouldn't have been bad for him to do that because, hey, again, he had saved the king's life, right? But he shouldn't try to call him up on that. He let God place him in the right position at the right time. He let God place Esther in the right position at the right time to let God fight on their behalf. Right. Ooh, say that, Miss Honor Island. Talk about God making an enemy a footstool. Absolutely. They stayed consistent in their integrity even when unseen. They didn't go about the kingdom acting a fool, saying all of this stuff, hey, you know how sometimes people do. I did this for so and so, and this is how they treated me. Like, they didn't do any of that. They stayed being obedient to whatever it is God told them to do. So, and this says, honor others even when your own honor feels delayed. Can we do that? Like when we're not getting the recognition, can we recognize others? Can we honestly, um, as Mordecai did, serve the king, even though the king wasn't trying to save his people. In fact, he signed a decree to kill his people, but he still honored the king. That's crazy. Like, when you think about it, like, can you really be that person? But that's the person that we should be striving to be. I do not, affirmation is, I do not chase honor. I let honor chase me in God's perfect time. Handle honor with grace when it comes. When Esther was honored as queen, she did not boast. She used her position to serve and protect her people. And we know this. We know the story of what happened. When God elevates you, remain humble and use your position to bless others. So when he finally says, hey, I'm going to put you in a position, the validation is going to be there. The recognition is going to be there. People are going to see you. When people see you, are you still going to show up the way God tells you to show up? Are you still going to be obedient? That's something that we have to think about, right? Let honor chase me. Absolutely. Give glory back to God instead of taking credit for yourself. Every morning before I get up here, every morning, period, not even before I get up here, when I say my prayers, I say, all of you, God, none of me, because Lord knows I messed up, okay? Lord knows I don't have the correct words. There's a lot of things I do not know, a lot. And I have to say, all of you, God, none of me. Let people see God in this devotion, not me, because, baby, I make mistakes every day. I had to fuss at Riley this morning because she didn't want to put a jacket on. Now, I was cool with the fussing, but I still had to let her know, hey, I said go put a jacket on, because she heard me the first time. Okay, but she didn't want to go do it. So, are we giving God the glory in whatever situation it is? Are we saying this is because of God? I made it through this not on my own accord, because of God. And I always, when I tell my testimony, my story of what happened with me, I always say this is God's doing. Everything that happened, he worked it out, right? When I tell the story, y'all know I did not have insurance at the time that I was I got diagnosed, right? But I got excellent medical care. Now, I did go to the county hospital, but the doctors that treated me were the same doctors that were at MD Anderson. And I remember asking one of the doctors, like, because if you know about Houston, we have MD Anderson, which is one of the most it's for cancer. If you have cancer, people say go to MD Anderson, right? My mother-in-law, she went to MD Anderson. She is a 3-time breast cancer survivor. So I'm like, oh, I need to get to MD Anderson, right? And I remember speaking to the surgeon when I had first got sick, and I was like, well, how do I get to MD Anderson? And he said, well, listen, you can go to MD Anderson. He said, but the same doctors that are at MD Anderson, they're treating you here. He was like, I work at MD Anderson. Dr. Milano, that was my main surgeon. He worked at MD Anderson. He was like, you don't have to go to MD Anderson. He said, it's pretty there. It's nicer there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, but the same thing that they have there, we have here. And lo and behold, I didn't have to go to MD Anderson. I was cured right here. I didn't have to drive to the medical center, pay all that parking all that time, fight traffic. Lord knows if my son could have got me to the medical center. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of those things. Like, God really had his hand in my life, in my story, right? And I always make sure to point back to that. I didn't have to pay a dime. I know people with insurance. I talk to people all of the time because they know my story. And so they'll come to me and they'll be like, okay, well, what should I do? Da, da, da. And they tell me about how much they have to pay for scans, thousands of dollars. All of this, I did not have to pay a dime. I got on government assistance, and it is what it is. I am not ashamed, because your girl worked for years, over 20 years, okay, before I even needed help. But when I needed the help, I went and found it, that's for sure. Okay, I didn't have to pay anything. Even the urgent care that I went to, and I told them, listen, I don't have the money. I don't know, if y'all can see me or whatever. And the lady said, come on in, we're going to work it out. They never, ever sent me a bill. Never ever sent me a bill. Never charged me. Never charged Medicaid from what I understand. You know, and so I say that to say now people, when I tell the story, they're like, well, what do you mean you didn't have any insurance? And I would think that people would read behind the lines. Of course, I didn't initially have insurance, but at one point I had to, get assistance or whatever. And I tell people, I got government assistance. Yeah, I got Medicaid. Yeah, whatever. And that was all God. That wasn't me at all. That wasn't me at all. And that's who I have to give honor to when I tell that story. I mean, I give honor to him in everything, right? My life right now is a testimony to God's favor over my life. Give honor and thanks back to God. He always, yes. Yes, God gets all the credit in my life. I have nothing without him. Absolutely, Miss Cassandra. Less of me, more of him. I say all of him, none of me. That's what I be like, none of me, Lord. Can he bless us and trust us to give him glory? Absolutely, Miss Angie. Same, I went to Methodist Katie. Oh, yeah, Miss Janicia. Yeah, it's all the same doctors. They were like, ma'am, you don't have to go there. And I was like, okay, that's all I needed to know. But yeah, so give the glory back to God instead of taking credit for yourself. And continue, once you do get the honor and the glory, to walk in kindness, grace, and wisdom. And sometimes it's not easy to do that because people are not kind. And what I was getting out at this story, sometimes I know my thoughts are scattered and I'm a little lightheaded this morning, but a lot of people will be like, well, it wasn't God, it was the doctors that saved you. It was the medical team. But how do you think I got to the medical team? Like, how do you think I got to the doctors? People say all kind of crazy stuff. Even when you share something like a testimony of becoming cancer free, like from stage 4 cancer, like people say all kind of crazy stuff, but I have to remain kind. My husband tells me all the time, when you put your business out there like that, Nicole, you know people are gonna say crazy stuff. He said, so just ignore it or keep it moving. And I have to remember that, like. And I have to remember what I remember most is these people don't know me. I don't know these people. So I do not get offended anymore. It used to hurt my feelings. Like, why would you say something like that? Or they'll be like, there is no God and da-da-da. And I'll just be like, well, you know what? Maybe my page isn't for you. Because you're not gonna persuade me that there is a God. Not ever. I don't care what happens on this earth. You will never separate me from God. Okay? So yeah. Yes, God bless the doctor's hands to be able to perform the surgery. He put me in the right place at the right time. He gave me favor all the way through. I did not have a job. I was never evicted. I got approved. My cousin was like, go apply for Social Security disability. She was like, you've paid into it. Go apply and see what they say. And I'm like, they're not going to give me Social Security disability. You hear all of these horror stories about getting Social Security and people waiting years and finally getting it. And I was like, but I was like, okay, I'll go apply. I was approved in less than a month. Because of the stage of my cancer, the type of cancer I have, they put me through a process to hurry me through. My bills were always paid. Nothing ever got cut off. In fact, we had more than enough. So there's nothing you can tell me that God's hand wasn't in all of that, right? Nah, I don't be worried about them people. Yes, absolutely, Miss April. Girl, I'll be like, I don't know them people. I ain't finna worry about it. So, yes, you have to continue to walk in kindness, grace, and wisdom. When honor comes, I will carry it with humility and wisdom. That's our affirmation. So, a feminine woman of faith does not seek to be honored. She seeks to be faithful. Are you being faithful? Are you showing up as who God says that you are? Are you showing up as your purpose person, right? Nothing can separate me from God. I don't care what y'all say. I don't care what happens. I don't care who he puts as president. I don't care about nothing. I don't care. I know God for myself, and that's why it's important that you pick up your Bible and you read for yourself. You pray for yourself. These devotions are great. I love showing up on these devotions, right? Love it. However, you need to know God for yourself. Because I can tell you 100%, you can't convince me otherwise. His hand is on your life, and he has been working in your life from when you were a child until you are the age, till you are at this moment right now, this age you're at right now. And if you know his word, and if you know him, if you seek him, okay, there's not going to be anybody that can convince you otherwise of God's goodness, okay? Nothing. No one. Nothing can separate me from the love of God. I don't care what anyone says. I had posted on Instagram just like a feed of just random photos and videos that I had seen or taken, right? And one of those videos is a video from this lady on TikTok. I forget her name. But she always shows up with like these profound messages, right, about God or whatever. And she was saying, if you don't feel like you are close to God, remember he isn't the one that moved. And you have to really think about that. If you do not feel close to God, remember he isn't the one that moved. Like, she really be on it, okay? Yes, know the word for yourself. Have a personal relationship with him. Have a personal relationship with him. Listen to me. Have a personal relationship with him. That doesn't mean it has to be perfect. Okay? It does not mean it has to be perfect. Show up just as you are, flaws and all. He just want to have a relationship with you. It does not have to be perfect on your end. Of course, he's perfection, but you don't have to show up perfect for God. You show up as you are. He just wants that personal relationship with you. Get personal, okay? But yeah, baby. Oh, girl be on TikTok. You got to be ready to listen to her, okay? Like, let me see if I can find real quick. Let's see. Her favorite, the one that she kind of went viral for. She went viral for this particular video, and it's real profound what she says. But she says all of these things, and you're just like, what? Oh, no, man, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on, y'all. How can you look at it? Apparently, y'all know your girl ain't tech savvy, right? You know your girl isn't tech savvy. I don't know how to look at these videos without... Anyway, I'll have to share that with y'all. Maybe I'll find it and share it with y'all tomorrow. Because I don't know how to get it on here. On my thing. Does it let you? Oh, here it is. Hold on. Found it. Here it is.
Why do you stop praying when things start going?
Hold on, I'm gonna turn the camera around so y'all could hear this.
Well, if you wake up in the morning and you go right to your phone, you make that phone idle. If you truly think that you're ready for something, don't you think that the Lord would have given it to you by now? Believing in Jesus and not obeying his word is exactly what Satan does. Not everything is a spiritual attack. Some things are consequences of your own decisions. Spirit, make this cacao drink come to my mouth. Holy Spirit, I'll say hello this time. Hello. Do you believe that the life that you're living right now, that the Lord would say to you, well done, good and faithful servant? And if you find yourself feeling far from God, remember that he is not the one who moved. If you ask God to wake you up early in the morning and he wakes you up at like 7 a.m. and you decide to go back...
It's gonna cut off. But this is the one that she's known for. I don't know why I won't let it start over. Come on, man. Let me see if it'll refresh. Hold on. Yeah, I see all those pictures.
Voice when you already decided what you want him to say.
Yeah.
You are judging people for the things that you actively used to do.
Yeah, that's the one. She be on it. She said it's hard to hear God's voice when you've already decided what you want him to say. Gets me every time. Every time. That's the one she kind of blew up for. But yeah, she be on it. She be on it. I got to prepare myself before I watch her because I know like God gonna be like, girl, what you been doing, girl? But anyway. A feminine woman of faith does not seek to be honored. She seeks to be faithful. And in due time, at God's perfect time, God lifts her up before others. I gotta find her name. I'll find it for you, Miss OK Josie Simplified. I'll find it for you. Just like Esther, your honor is already written into God's plan. Like he already knows. He goes before us, right? Trust the timing, stay faithful, and walk in grace. Okay? And I did kind of, if you can give me another minute or two, I wanted to talk about seeking validation, right? The world's validation is temporary. It changes all the time. It changes with trends and moods and circumstances, but God's approval is eternal. Like how many times we're pretty much seasoned women on here. We have pretty much seen a lot of things happen. We have pretty much seen things that got enormous amounts of attention. You don't even recall them now, right? Validation from the world is temporary. God's approval is eternal. So what are you doing? Would God approve? Like she said in that video, the life that you're living right now, would God say that you are a good and faithful servant? Right? Yeah. Stop seeking validation from likes, followers, or compliments. That's for me. Your value is unshaken when people praise you or ignore you. If you seek validation from God, if you seek his eternal approval, you won't worry about a like, a follower, a compliment, none of those. And it's true. Like I said, as I have been learning not to worry about showing up for others, but showing up for God. And that doesn't mean that I don't show up for people. Y'all know what I'm saying. Like I'm not showing up to impress people. I'm not showing up for people to give me compliments or to say this or that or the other. I hope I show up authentically. I hope that y'all can see that in my videos. I hope that y'all can see that in my devotion. Like, yes, do I want to turn this into something? Sure, but at the right time, when God says it's the right time. Like, if he says that I should even do that, like, that's my want. That doesn't necessarily is. He might just say, do this devotional forever, Nicole, and that's what I'm going to do, you know? So meditate on who God says you are, not on how others perceive you. That is so important. That is so important, not to get caught up in what other people think of you, but what does God think of you? Who does God say that I am? Like, what does this Bible say about me as a feminine woman of faith? Like, what does it say? That is what is the truth. That is what I believe, not what other people say about me, not what other people think, who they think I am, because people don't really know you, not these people on the outside. Like, to be honest, love y'all, but do y'all really know me? Know me? No. Not from this. Maybe eventually, but not from these minutes that we spend together, and I don't know you, right? So that's why it's also important that you show up as the person that God says you are, right? That you are a good witness for God. Like, I don't ever want people to look at me and be like, I never want to be a Christian. I never want to follow God. Like, do people look at you and think that? That's the only thing you should be worried about. Do people look at you and say, I would never want to be a Christian based on how she acts? Because I've said that about people. I'm not even going to lie to you. Like, I've seen people do things and been like, yeah. So, choose obedience over popularity. God's will is greater than the world's trends, okay? Our affirmation is, I am already loved, chosen, and enough in Christ. Remember, I always tell y'all, like, you are chosen. You are chosen. God chose you. So you don't even got to worry about being chosen by other people. Seek purpose over popularity. A woman who walks in God's purpose does not seek external approval. She does not need it. She is too focused on her divine assignment. Are you focused on what God says for you to do? Because if you put your focus there, you're not going to be worried about if so-and-so thinks my outfit is cute. I want God to say to me, well done, my good and faithful servant. I know that's right. I pray every day for God to make me better than the day before. That's, you know what? And that's the only thing that we need to be focused on. Am I improving? Am I still the same person? Do I still act the same way that I did last year or a few years ago or maybe even last month? You know what I'm saying? Shift your focus from seeking attention to walking in alignment with your calling. You know, God has been getting on me about different things, how I show up, how I dress, how I present myself. Um, you know, I'm somebody's wife as well, and I can't just be showing up any kind of way, wearing any kind of thing, right? Like, no. And even if I wanted to, my husband would be like, girl, what do you got on? You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't want people to focus on all of that. Yes, I'd like to lose more weight. I'd like to, you know, show up as the best version of myself. But it's because I know that God has blessed me and that's what I should be doing, right? He didn't keep me here for me to just be dragging behind and doing all these things to my body and myself, right? I don't necessarily follow a lot of trends or seek approval. I have worn this same hairstyle for the last year, blonde braids, except for a little stint where I wore some darker braids because my husband asked me to, right? So I showed up. He was like, I want to see your hair dark. Okay, I can do that for you, babe. So I don't, if I was chasing trends and all this kind of stuff, like I would look probably a lot different. I would look a lot different if I was trying to chase all of these impossible body types. And like, we really got to get off of social media. We really got to get off of social media. We really got to seek the Lord and not the attention of others, right? Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, we really, 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 really have to seek the attention of God and not others. So, are you living for impact or are you living for applause? Are you living for, you know, all you need is to impact one person. Every day I show up and I just be like, if one person got something out of what you told me to say, Lord, I'm good. I'm good. That's it. It's not about getting y'all applause or anything like that. Like, did you learn something from this? Did I learn something? Because a lot of times, like I told y'all, this devotions don't be for y'all, it be for me. It be for me. So we are to be impactful, not seeking applause. You do not need to be seen to be significant. You do not need to be seen to be significant. God still says you are the daughter of a king. Okay, you're a princess, essentially. Queen, whatever you want to call it. You are a part of the royal family. Okay, you don't need anyone else to tell you that. God has told you that. God has told you that. Good morning, Miss Teacher. Ask yourself, am I doing this for validation or for the kingdom? An affirmation we can say is, I choose purpose over popularity, calling over clouds. Okay? World validation is exhausting. It forces you to perform, prove, and please at the cost of your peace. Okay? When you are seeking the world's validation, you're always trying to perform, you're always trying to prove your point, and you're always trying to please people. Hey, Mrs. Snotty. Okay? And that's not what you should be chasing. You should only be seeking after the Lord's validation. Yes, social media will have you thinking you're not good enough. Absolutely. God made us in his image, so therefore we are wonderfully made and more than worthy. Yes, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Stop filtering yourself to fit into expectations that God never required of you. Stop showing up because the world says that or expects you to show up this way, and start seeking how God wants you to show up, how he expects you to be, right? That leads me back to what I was saying about, dressing more modestly. Not, you don't have to show everything and all of that kind of stuff. But if we listen to the world, baby, they'll have you out here naked. Bucky naked, okay? But how is that doing anything for us? Going out there and I'm not saying this to condemn anybody or anything. You're grown, you do what you feel that you need to do. But tell me, if you go out there and you show your body, it just gets worse and worse. Like, you're showing more and more and more. I remember growing up, and I don't know if your mom or parents ever said this to you, or guardians or whoever ever said, you moving too fast. Like, when I was young, we was trying to get to the club and all that. My mom would be like, if you do all of these things now, what will you have to do later? If you are out here showing everything now, what you gonna do later? Like, what's there's nothing more. There's nothing more. If you out here doing all of this stuff now, and I'm not even talking about just showing your body, whatever it is that you out here doing right now, what are you gonna be able to do later? And I remember my mom would say that all the time. I'd be like, what are you talking about? And now I get it. Now I understand. Now I get it. So stop filtering yourself to fit into expectations that God never required of you. Set boundaries with people who only value you for what you do, not who you are. Set boundaries with those people. The people who only care about what you can do for them. You want people who want you for who you are. I say all the time, in past relationships, I was a performer, okay? I was trying to perform and prove my worth. In this marriage, I showed up as Nicole. And you take it or leave it. I know I was worth something. I know I was valuable. I knew that there was value in me. And it says in the next line, choose authenticity over perfection. You do not need to perform for love. You don't. If you find yourself doing things just so people can recognize you as whatever position you're trying to move into, I can tell you now, it's not going to work. You're going to get tired of performing, okay? And you're going to want to just be yourself. And I think that's why it's so important that you understand, as feminine women, God has called us to be, not to do. Okay, not to perform, not to try to prove anything to anyone. He has called us just to be ourselves, which are daughters of the kings. There is value in that. You are valuable. Remember, you are significant. Okay, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You do not need to perform. You need to set boundaries with those people, and you need to Focus on the people who love you just as you are, who are happy that you're just there, that you're in the building, okay? I used to hear, why buy the cow when you were giving them milk for free? Absolutely. I thought it was a crazy saying, but I understand that's got on. Yeah. I was like, Mama, what are you talking about? Am I doing everything now? What do you mean? Of course, of course there's going to be things to do later. That's like what I would be saying. What are you talking about? No, baby. She knew exactly what she was talking about. Yeah. So stop filtering yourself. Show up for who you are, not what you do. Choose authenticity over perfection. You do not need to perform for love. And our affirmation is, I am free from performing for approval. I am already enough. I am already enough. I am free from showing up. I'm free from performing for approval. I am already enough. Let go of the fear of rejection. Rejection by the world often means you are set apart for something greater. Okay? We are seasoned, soft, and set apart. Doesn't matter that the world rejects what we are saying or how we're showing up, as long as God validates us. If they don't validate you, God still does. Stop shrinking to be accepted. And we do that now. That's not just like a school thing. We shrink ourselves now. We don't show our true personalities now because we want people to accept us. We want to be in the friend circle or whatever it is. No. That's not what God wants for you. He accepts you, and that's all you need. And I know that's sometimes dismissive to say to people, when they're going through things, to say, well, God accepts you, so why are you worried about that? But it's the truth. Not everything we say is going to be pretty. I'll say it like that, right? Not everything we say is going to be acceptable, but it is going to be true. And sometimes we just need the truth, right? Understand that not everyone is meant to support your journey, and that is okay. That's something that I'm working on, that not everybody is going to show up for everything that I do in life. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. It doesn't mean that they don't love me or that they don't care about me or they don't care about what I'm doing. It's just that they're not the support system that God put in place. And I'm seeking the people that He put in place to support me. I want those people. That's what I want. When the world overlooks you, God is positioning you. So you're not overlooked. Remember, we said that you are significant, right? You are significant. You are impactful. Being significant and impactful doesn't mean big. Sometimes you will be overlooked, right? But God, He is putting you in the right position. There are many times I felt like I was being overlooked in relationships, things like that. Like my first marriage, I was just like, why? But God was setting me up. He was setting me up for my greater later. I do not fear rejection. I am accepted by the one who matters most. And embrace soft confidence in God's love. True confidence is not loud, forceful, or attention seeking. And you know that woman. She just shows up like you don't know and this is probably not the best example, but I'm gonna just tell y'all, Marjorie Harvey. I don't care what nobody say about that woman. The past that they try to dig up about her, she never addresses it. She never says any of those things. She shows up as her most beautiful self. You could tell that she's fun loving. She puts things together for her family. Like she is secure in who she is. She is, you don't see her, you see her on the scene, but you don't see her on the scene. You know what I mean? Like she ain't out there trying to party and all this kind of stuff. She's just living her life. Living her life like it's golden, okay? Because it is. She is not loud. She is not forceful. You don't see her seeking attention. Steve is the one that puts her in the front. She be in the background doing her thing. You know what I'm saying? Like living her life, going to Fashion Week and all. Steve be like, come on the show. I don't even know if he has a show anymore, but Steve be talking about Marjorie, right? He's the one that like puts her in front and center. You don't ever see her like trying to be front and center. That's just what I've observed, right? Yes. Yes, Miss Michelle. Bae, Beyonce don't have to be front and center. She show up and do her thing. And then keep it moving. And could care less what y'all say. She could care less about that. We know those people that they don't try to seek attention. It just happens. It just happens, right? They get placed in those positions. True confidence is not loud, forceful, or attention seeking. It is soft, secure, and deeply rooted in God's love. I don't care what y'all say about Marjorie Harvey. She has a quiet confidence about her. It's like you want to know more about her. Just me personally, that's how I feel. And I don't ever see her like trying to like give y'all more. She's just out here living her life like it's golden. Instead of chasing validation, rest in quiet confidence. You don't have to prove anything. We talked about that. Trust that God sees, values, and honors you even when no one else does. Let go of the need to be liked, noticed, or approved. His affirmation is more than enough. It don't matter. I post stuff now, and I don't care if it don't get likes. If it does, great. If it don't, I'm okay with it. Did I get my message across, right? I love her. She's not inspired. She's so confident, quiet. Yes, like, you don't see that woman out there doing nothing to nobody. That's why I be like, why y'all in her business? But they're in her business because she's a mystery. Like, they'll tell you all the time in dating, be a mystery, okay? And it's true. Like, you shouldn't be going on these dates and spilling all of your information in the first 1 or 2 dates. Honestly, you shouldn't be doing it until the man really just shows a interest in making a commitment with you. Like, you should be a mystery. He should want to know more about you. You should leave him wanting to know more about you. Like, she's on my brain. I gotta find out what's going on. That's what people do. That's what Marjorie does. She is a mystery. We don't know. We just hear rumors. We don't know what went down. We don't know what happened. We don't know what she's really about, right? You ain't got to put everything out there for everybody. I have become in life as a almost 47-year-old more how do you say it? I don't know how to say it, but I am like, you don't need to know everything. My husband comes home, I give y'all little tidbits of us being funny, but it's a lot I cut out. I may have recorded it just because I just keep the camera going, but I think to myself, like, is that how I want y'all to see this? You know what I'm saying? Like, do y'all need to know this? Like, there's a lot that y'all really don't know about me. it's everybody should know everything. They should not be all in your business, especially, like I said, within dating. You should be a bit of a mystery. You should be people interested in finding out more about you, not that they know everything about you, what's there to know, right? Anyway, let go of the need to be liked, noticed, or approved. His affirmation is more than enough. Our affirmation is, I am secure in God's love. I lack nothing. Y'all know I love saying that. I lack nothing. You lack nothing. Okay? You are secure in God's love. That is your security. You lack nothing. So your value is already established. It is not out for you to perform or prove or anything like that. Your value is already established because you are the king's daughter. Okay? A feminine woman of faith does not seek approval from a world she was never meant to blend into. She knows her worth is rooted in Christ and not in the culture. The world's validation is fleeting, but God's affirmation is eternal. Walk in that confidence, that grace, and that divine security. Okay? God has validated you. You already are valuable, right? You are already valuable. You were never meant to blend into this world. You were set apart, okay? So anyway, that's all I got for today. Let me read the devotional one more time. I'm sorry for keeping y'all so long. I wasn't even planning on being here this long because, but I feel better. Day 13, the beauty of a humble spirit. Our Bible verse is Esther 6:11. So Haman got the robe and the horse. He didn't want to. he robed Mordecai and led him on horseback, proclaiming, "This is what is done for the man the king delights to honor." Our devotion, Mordecai didn't seek recognition, and he didn't. Yet God exalted him. Humility leads to honor. A truly feminine woman doesn't chase attention. Favor finds her. Our affirmation is I walk in humility, knowing that honor comes in God's time. Our action step is avoid self-promotion today. You ain't got to promote yourself, girl. You ain't got to do none of that. You're already valuable. There's no reason for you to seek the validation, because that's what we're doing when we try to promote ourselves in certain ways, right? Let your character and grace speak for itself. Our journal prompt is how can you practice humility while still embracing confidence, which hopefully you got that from what we talked about, right? So I'm sorry for keeping y'all so long. It's been over an hour. I don't know. I just get caught up in talking to y'all. This is like one of the best parts of my day. I love starting my day off like this. I hope that the good Lord says the same for the rest of my life. That I get to start it off talking about Him and talking to y'all, right? So I pray and intend that y'all have the most amazing, wonderful Wednesday. We are halfway through the week. Yes, yes, yes. I was surprised to find out that next week is spring break, so I have a lot of work to do so I can get the first devotional out to y'all, and maybe even this one too, so we, y'all can have it right. This verse was Esther 6:11. Esther 6:11. I know. I love this time with y'all too, Miss DG. Thank you, Miss Nisa, honey. An hour and it was needed. It was. Thank you, Miss Nisi, baby. So y'all have the most amazing day. I know that it will be. I will see y'all on tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Bye.